crazy is that, I was married before, and I'm single.
Yeah.
I had a whole plan.
Oh, God.
What was your plan?
Man, my plan was good. It was a great plan. I was like, I'm 23, 24. I'm 24 years old, whatever it is. Just won a Super Bowl. I'm like, I'm going to be single for about 10 years.
Oh,
I got a whole, I'm going to meet some friends along the way, and then you're going to marry your best friend, that whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll be 10 years. And sure enough, about a year and a half into my plan, I meet her. And I knew exactly when I met her. She was the one. And I think a big part of it was...
What? Wait a minute, Russell, how you saying that? What was it? Because people don't believe that. What you just talked about was like pretty much a version of love at first sight. How?
It really was. A couple things had happened. One, I had actually told somebody I knew before, I was like, somebody asked me, who do you see yourself with? And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, Ciara. They were like, she ain't gonna like you. I said, why? He said, I don't think she gonna like you. I said, she ain't met me yet.
Okay. Talk about she gonna like me. She don't know me.
That was the first thing. Then crazy. Fast forward, I'm kind of seeing some people. I'm just chilling, whatever, 10-year window. And so then fast forward, what happens is I go to church one day on a Sunday. Sunday I go to dinner with my pastor. We're sitting there talking. I said, man, I need to write my 5 non-negotiables. He said, 5 non-negotiables. I said, you said negotiables in your sermon. I said, you weren't talking about this, but I believe in marriage. Like I said earlier, marriage is a business deal. It's life. It's partnership. It's this, that, and the other. I said, I need to write my 5 non-negotiables. What I want a woman. Number 1 is I want a woman of faith, right, who believe in God, this and that. I want a woman who is faithful, not just to me, but to everything she does. When her yes is yes, her no is no. I want a woman who was independent, didn't have to be Ciara, but somebody had their own identity and wasn't just Russell's wife. I wanted somebody that was also someone who was similar to my mom. Yeah, my mom was helping my dad when he was on his deathbed. My dad used to always say, you're always going to be good because you're mama. And then I wanted somebody that would tilt the room. When they walk in the room, that their whole room changes.
Okay, and that's true about her.
Yeah, so those 5 things. So those 5 things I wrote down, prayed over. We prayed over that night. He said, "Why 5?" I said, "5 is the number of grace." I said, "Marriage and life is about grace."
Yes,
so we wrote 5 of them down, and 3 days later, I meet Steve for the first time, and so we meet each other. Fast forward, like the moment I met her, what was interesting is Future was about 9 months or so, and it was just a bond right from the beginning. And I told her, I said, no matter if you and I ever end up together, I'm gonna make sure I look out for a little man and help whatever way you need. But I knew it was gonna be like something real. And so, I think what's amazing, going back to the question though, of like, how do you know? I think life is a journey, right? You meet people along the way, you go through relationships, situations, this and that. And I think it's all a formulation of the imperfect ingredients of what God desires for you. And I think that ultimately we experience life situations, people, this and that. And at some point we realize, okay, well, God, what do you really have for me? And I think that, in our situation, like, being a stepdad to Future, and really, that's the greatest love to me. You talked about fatherhood earlier. Like, to me, right, like to be able to raise a son as if he's your own blood is the greatest gift. And to me, that's how I've always looked at how God's relationship with Jesus was, and Jesus to Mary. So, like, to me, like, that's always been significant to me of how we're intended to love as dads, and none of us are perfect in that sense, but just knowing that like God loves us that much. And so how do I love my kids, and not just Future, but Win and Sienna and Amora. And so I think that's a big piece of it for me too, is being able to share that, as family.